Hello, welcome to the Mediocre Takes podcast, the podcast where we discuss our mediocre takes on the shows and movies we watch. I'm Marco and I'm here with my co host Mel. How are you doing, Mel?
Tired and sweaty.
Okay, today we're going to be talking about our favorite anime. Also, I just want to say these aren't the best anime, these are just our favorites. Yeah, because I know some of you out there are little bitches.
Damn, already throwing hands with what are 10 listeners.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I also want to mention thank you so much for 53 listens. That's how many we've gotten so far. So, like 10 listeners per episode, which is wild to me. I know that's barely anything in the podcast world, but to us, that's like a lot. We're trying to get to 50 unique listeners. We have 30 so far. So that way we can start monetizing this shit. I doubt we'll ever get any like actual money, but it's still nice, you know? So, yeah, thank you for listening. Do you have anything to say?
Oh, I just want to thank God.
Okay.
Beyonce.
We're gonna start with our honorable mentions.
My first honorable mention is Uzumaki, which technically has not been released yet, but Uzumaki is an adaptation of Junji Ito's manga of the same name. As I said, it has not been released yet. Originally, it was supposed to release in 2020, but I don't know. I guess something happened that year, like maybe something completely unprecedented happened, and then it got pushed to 2021. And then they were like, we want to make sure this is up to Junji Ito standards. So they postponed it again. I don't think they've given a new release date yet, but I cannot wait to watch it and suffer irreparable damage from all the gore and horror I will witness. If you don't know, Junji Ito, he's a horror mangaist. What are they called?
Mangaka.
Mangaka. He does horror mangaka. Uzumaki is, I think, his most popular manga. That and Tomi, I think, are his most popular. I have not finished the manga, mostly because every time I try to read it, I get nauseous and then I have weird dreams for like the next 3 days. I'm hoping that if I force myself to sit down and just simply watch it instead of have to physically turn pages, I will get through it. I'm also hoping that, as they've stated before, they're trying to make it as close to the original material as possible. I know that Junji Ito gave out his licensing to Tomy, to I think either Funimation or Crunchyroll, and I think he said that he didn't like what they did with the story, so I'm hoping that this will be better.
I remember there being an anime out from Junji Ito, and I saw it, and I think it was terrible. Like the animation was weird.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully it's good.
They're creating it in the way that the original like manga art was. So it literally looks like they just took it from the pages and animated it.
My honorable mention is Nichijou, My Ordinary Life. We follow three high school girls, a robot and her creator, and the antics they go on. This anime is a slice of life comedy and it's actually really funny. There's one bit where one of the characters draws boys' love, yaoi, but is trying to hide the fact that she draws boys' love, so when the police officer finds the drawing, she beats up the police officer. There's also this really great bit about a tsundere who has guns and shoots the guy she has a crush on each time her crush does or says something stupid. It's not just the fact that this happened, it's also the way they execute the bits. It's really well animated and over dramatic. There's also some character plotlines here and there about a robot who wants to go to school but doesn't want people to know that she's a robot. I love how simple the jokes in the show are, but how they go above and beyond to make the joke hit hard with the animation. I've also read the manga and it's really great.
I have seen that clip of the I think it was the same clip of the girl hiding her the what would you call it?
Manga?
What's it called? The manga?
Boys Love?
Yeah, that. What's this anime called? Because I'm gonna watch it now.
Nichijou. Just search up My Ordinary Life.
Dude, I've seen so many clips of like funny ass animes and I never figured out where they're from. That was one of them. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My next honorable mention is Full Metal Alchemist. So the reason this is runner up is because I simply have not finished it. I'm literally only on episode 8, but I feel like if I can get through episode 4, which, spoiler alert, they commit the two cardinal sins, which is hurting a child and hurting a pet. I can get through anything else this show throws at me. I'm a huge fan of characters with childhood trauma. It's a pretty good show, I think. The plot is basically these boys try to use alchemy to resurrect their dead mom, which is such an overplayed trope, and I'm so tired of dead moms. And through trying to resurrect her, they end up damaging their bodies. So Edward, who's the eldest brother, he loses an arm and a leg, and Alphonse, the youngest brother, loses his whole ass body. Ed traps Alphonse's soul into like this suit of armor that like he can then control. They have to join the military to get access to the alchemy they need to transfer Al's soul into a body and then get Ed's limbs back. They go on that journey. From what I've seen so far, they suffer more trauma. But I really like the world that they've created. I love the functions of the alchemy. I like most of the characters. I especially like the antagonists and how they're all humanoid embodiments of the seven sins. And there are so many episodes. So I can't wait to spend the next 2 years watching it.
My second honorable mention is Hinamatsuri. A girl with superpowers is taken in by a Yakuza. Hinamatsuri is similar to Nichijou, but I love Hinamatsuri more than Nichijou because Hinamatsuri actually has some character and plot development. I love the absurdist humor as well. There's this one bit where a 14-year-old girl becomes a bartender and she's forced to become a bartender because she's caught by another bartender. The thing about this is that a lot of jokes actually move the plot forward and the characters are great. I've also read the manga for this anime and I strongly recommend it as well.
My next honorable mention is Kakegurui. Um,
Oh my god.
yep, I know. This is a funky show. And if the characters weren't minors, it would probably be in my favorites. So this anime is basically gambling meets private schools meets slavery with a hint of nepotism. It's just a bunch of private school kids who bet on their freedom. Like if you go into debt or if you're like the least rich, you're basically a servant to the richer people. The reason I like this show so much is because of Yumiko Jabami. I would say, in my opinion, she is not a girl boss, but she has girl boss tendencies. She ruins the life of anyone that she plays against, and she is absolutely ruthless. Only downside to this anime for me is that I am a legal adult, and these characters are minors who love to moan. I think it's mostly Yumiko and Midori who do that, but one character is too much for me. Speaking of Midori, I hate her so much, but I love her relationship with Yumiko because Yumiko is absolutely unhinged. Like every character around her fears her or hates her. Even Yumiko is freaked out by how weird Midori is. And I don't know, something about that, something about how there are so many scenes where Midori is like, "Oh my gosh, Yumiko, you're so cool." And then Yumiko just like side eyes her and walks away. For some reason, that's the funniest shit in the world because she's so nice to everyone else. And then Midori's just like, "Hey, queen." And she's like, "Anyway." There's one scene where a game between Midori and Yumiko, I think. And there was just, for some reason, there was a scene where there was so much liquid. There were so many liquids. I don't know where they were coming out of, but there were a lot of liquids.
What?
Yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know because they don't show anything explicit, but you see a lot of liquids dripping off of her. And I don't want to know where they came from, and I felt very like I felt like a pervert watching that. But I just want to see crazy people do crazy things. I could find a new anime, I guess, but I really liked the premise of this one. It is a little bit ruined by wet minors, which is why it's an honorable mention. But overall, I like it, I guess. It's one of the modern animes that I've seen. I don't really watch a lot of modern animes. I guess this one was good enough for me.
I tried watching it and I hated it. I couldn't stand it. It was so weird and creepy to me. I gave up on it like 2 episodes in.
That's so understandable.
Alright, so my third honorable mention is Shoujo Kakeki Revue Starlight. So this anime is basically about a bunch of girls in an underground fight club, but it's a musical at the same time and they fight with swords. Also, they're all low-key gay, which I love. I love the music in the show, although the lead singer slash main character can be slightly annoying when it comes to her singing. I still love the music in the show despite that. The fights are really well animated and go well with the music, and it seems like they kind of ran out of budget in the last few episodes. Most of the fight scenes have amazing backdrops, but I feel like the 11th episode they ran out of money for backdrops and weren't able to add anything to the background. And there might be some of you asking, but Marco, what about Revolutionary Girl Utena? And for those of you who don't know, Utena is an old anime about an underground fight club that heavily inspired Revue Starlight. Don't get me wrong, I like Utena, but at the same time, I feel like Utena was a bit too smart, while Revue Starlight feels more straightforward and more accessible. I love how we get to learn about each character and their backstories and watching them grow. I love how beautiful all of the scenes in this show is, especially the fight scenes. My favorite character is Nana. For those of you who have watched Revue Starlight, you know why, and I love her. I recommend this anime to pretty much anyone who loves great fight scenes and musicals.
Sorry, you said gay?
Low key gay. There's one like official gay character, but the rest are all low key gay.
I'll take Loki. My last honorable mention is Dorohedoro. I'm gonna give the shortest synopsis for this anime that only people who've watched it will probably understand. Lizard Man wants head, and that's all I'm gonna say.
What?
This Lizard Man wants head. This is in the honorable mentions for the same reason Full Metal Alchemist is. I have not finished it. I have 6 more episodes to watch, and then that's it. And I also liked it for the same reasons I liked Full Metal Alchemist. I love the world, I love the characters, I like whatever funky ass magic they're using. My favorite character is Noi because she's a herbo and I'm a lesbian. The animation in this is a bit wonky, but that's because they used CGI. I don't know if this is the actual reason why, but I read somewhere that the reason they did this was because the original manga had such a distinct aesthetic and CGI was really the only way to properly show that. I get it, and I like that they're trying to stick to the original material. The English dub is it's a little bad. The localization just isn't there. Like, there's some things that just don't sound right. It does have killer intros and outros, though. That shit slaps. The animation is so cool. The music is really cool. The characters are really cool. A lot of violence, a lot of blood. I love it. It's on Netflix.
Okay, now we're going to our favorites. So, my first favorite is Sasaki and Miyano. We follow Miyano, a boy who loves reading boys' love manga, and Sasaki, a boy who meets Miyano and instantly falls head over heels for him, and we follow their romance. Now, this is one anime where I would say it's not exactly the best anime out there, but it's still one of my favorites due to how cute it is. The romance between Sasaki and Miyano is straight up adorable, and I love the slow burn and gayness of it all. I can see why other people wouldn't like the show, but to me, I love it. I will say Miyano, the main character, can be a bit annoying at times. He's unsure about his feelings about Sasuke, and it takes a lot of time to figure out if he likes someone. It can kind of get annoying at times, but I honestly don't mind that much. Again, I can see why people wouldn't like this anime, but I love it for the slow burn and how cute it is. One critique I have of this show is that they use really interesting background animations and sparkle animations to show whenever Miyano starts to feel something around Sasuke. And something I've noticed is that these special effects are kind of overused. I still like the effects added to the show, and I like how original it makes the show feel, but they're used multiple times in each episode, and it feels a bit much at times. The side characters are kind of forgettable, but I still like the show despite that. There's this one character whose girlfriend is a Fujoshi, which is like this girl who's crazy over like gay men and stuff. It's kind of gross. Really great bits about him wondering if his girlfriend wants him to be with another dude. He's genuinely worried about it, and I love it. Overall, this anime is sweet and fun, and I recommend it for anyone who's looking for a cute gay romance.
Before I get into my favorites list, I do want to say that all 3 of these are simply on my favorites list because I watched them as a kid when I was depressed. So they all have little spots in my heart and they're very near and dear to me. My first favorite is Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop, it's just vibes. It's a very character driven anime. It's very slow. I recently found out that they created it to try and sell toys. So that was strange to find out. But it's set in a post apocalyptic world and it follows a group of space bounty hunters. There's no real, like, overarching plot. Each episode sort of has a different agenda. With each episode, we learn more about the characters. Through the bounties that they go on, we learn more about each of their pasts. Yeah, it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a vibe. And I love Ein. Ein is he's a corgi.
My next favorite is Hunter x Hunter. We follow our main character Gun Freaks as he goes on an adventure to become a hunter in order to find his father. A hunter is someone in the pursuit of rare animal species, treasure hunting, surveying the land, etc. Honestly, I love this show even though it's super long. It's around 148 episodes long. The show starts off really slow and I don't love the first few arcs. The first arc is about Gun and friends becoming hunters and to the adventures they go on. It's kind of slowly paced and it fails to show what I love about the show. The arcs after that, however, are really amazing. I love the world building and the complex power system in this anime. It's really hard to grasp, but once you finally start understanding everything, it's really good. I love how unique they make the power system feel and how each character uses the power system in their own way. My one complaint about this show is that there's this really pedophilic clown in the show that acts really horribly around the characters, and it makes me super uncomfortable. My favorite arc is the York New City arc, where we follow one of our main characters, Kurapika, as he gets revenge on the criminal organization that killed his family called the Phantom Troop. I love how dark the themes are in this arc, and I loved the new characters we're introduced to. I know for a fact I want us to get around to this show, but it's so long, so I don't know if we'll ever get around to it.
My next favorite is an anime that goes by many names. Okay. Fooly Cooly, Fool on Cool, FLCL, Footy Cooty. I know that there's a secret message to this anime, and I wish I could tell you, but for the life of me, I can't remember. I have not watched this in a while, but from what I can remember, this is a very simplified plot. Crazy lady hits a child in the head and opens up a portal. I think she opens up the portal to find the Pirate King, which I think she's in love with or something. She creates a portal through this kid's head, and at some point they pull out this robot. There's a lot of symbolism of like he's Jesus, which I really like. But anyway, this anime is also a lot of vibes. It's also pretty slow. I think there's only like 6 episodes. There's this one girl, she burnt down her elementary school, which is definite girl boss vibes. Last year or 2020, they released Fully Coolly Progressive and Fully Coolly Alternative, which built off of Fully Coolly. It has the same main character who I forgot what her name was, but she basically does the same thing to what she did to the boy in Fully Coolly. She creates these portals through these kids' heads. I think the overarching theme is unhealthy relationships. You sort of see a lot of that in, I guess, all 3 of these. I think the one thing that really made this anime stick in my head throughout all these years is the soundtrack. It is so killer. It fits very well with the, I guess, aesthetic of the anime. And yeah, it's just a weird, wacky show in general.
My next favorite is Pulla Magi Madoka Magica. Madoka Magica is about multiple girls who become magical girls, and it's about the consequences of that. This show starts off really light, but later gets darker with its themes of hope and despair. I love the way the themes are explored. This show gets really dark, and I love it. I can't get into it because spoilers, and we plan on watching the show later, and it would ruin the surprise. The witches are animated so well, and I freaking love it. The animation in this show is really unique because of this. The fight scenes are amazing too. I also love the movie Rebellion that ties into this show, and it's fantastic. Homura, for those of you who watched it, did nothing wrong in my opinion.
My number one favorite anime is Inuyasha. This and Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman are my comfort shows. Inuyasha is a very intricate show and has a lot of moving parts, but the main plot is a ragtag team of misfits are on a journey to find the shards of the Shikon jewel before the main baddie Naraku does. There is literally so much drama jam-packed into each episode. One of the main reasons I love this anime so much is because all of the main characters have gotten their lives fucked by Naraku, and each important subplot explores that, and it's just an unraveling of how evil and how powerful Naraku is. This show is like the literal definition of a page turner. Like, I am trying so hard not to go in depth because I can just go on forever about this show. But another main reason why I love this show so much, and I think it's sort of the obvious reason for me, is that Inuyasha is a half demon, half human. He is literally biracial. Like, he is treated like shit by so many characters. I think that I watched this growing up, like middle school, which was some of the hardest years of my life. And one thing I had to deal with was racism. Watching the show for some reason, I felt seen, I felt heard. I don't know, something about it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, Inuyasha, you're so hashtag relatable." I try not to gush over it, and then there's like 4 movies. Okay, no, no. So you have the original show, and then you have the final act, which is like the final season that wraps up the show, and then you have 4 movies, and I love all of them so much. But anyway, it is a really long show, but it is totally worth it. It's so good and it's so hard to stop watching because like everything ties into everything and you see character development and then it's just it's so much and it's so good. I grew up watching the English dub and I am rewatching it for like I don't know the fourth time and I'm listening to the original Japanese dub. The characters sound better as the original Japanese voice actors. Kagome, one of the main characters. She sounds so annoying in the English dub. Something about her voice is so annoying. I love her so much more in the Japanese version. I will say the only character that I don't like the sound of in the Japanese version is Inuyasha. But other than that, damn, dude, the show's a banger. I'm not even gonna talk about the weird age difference between Inuyasha and Kagome because it sort of hurts my feelings. But other than that, yeah, this is a must watch. I don't care who you are, you need to watch it.
My must watch is Bloom Into You. Bloom Into You is about Yu Koito, a girl who wants to fall in love but struggles to. After being asked out by one of her middle school friends, she struggles to feel anything and doesn't know how to say no. That's when Tokonami helps her. Toko ends up falling for Yu instead. The show follows their romance. First of all, I love the music in the show. It's absolutely amazing, especially the ending song where the two main voice actors sing their own song. There are a lot of reasons why I love this anime. There's exploration of asexuality. It's also about the mask we wear when we are around other people and the psychology of the character Toko and the issues she has. I also love how we get older adult lesbians in this show and it isn't creepy at all. We get a discussion between one of the younger gay characters and an adult gay character, and the mentorship between them is healthy, not creepy, and completely good. We rarely see stuff like this in queer media, and I love how normal it feels. I will say that if you don't like shows about unhealthy relationships, I could see why you wouldn't like this anime. The relationship between you and Toko can be really unhealthy at times, but like that's kind of the point. I really like the unhealthiness of that relationship at first because there's so much the author explores in that unhealthiness. I will say you will find this show boring if you don't like character development. This show is all about the character development with little to no plot, but I love it nonetheless. Anyways, you guys, those are our favorite anime. If you want to, you can send us a voice message on Anchor in the description below this podcast episode. And yeah, that's everything. So goodbye.